So how do you stay out of the sun and the rain and all the elements when you're out hanging out at camp? Hi everybody, I'm Rob and this is Stormcore Overland. We talk about going on adventures, road tripping, camping, and just generally getting out and enjoying life. On this episode, we're going to talk about my favorite kind of piece of shelter for when you're at camp. I'm not talking about your tent, that's a whole separate thing. That's where you sleep. I'm talking about where you hang out. For me, I've really gotten to like the Slumberjack Roadhouse Tarp. Kind of an odd deal. We're going to go through it, talk about the pros and cons, set it up, all that fun stuff. But this is what it lives in bags like this. I've had the traditional, side of the car awning. It goes in like a 180 awning that comes out. I got one of the cheap ones off Amazon. It was identical to the Napa one that everybody had for a while. It was cheaply made. It was kind of hard to set up by yourself. The zippers were horrible. It ended up not being very useful for what I needed. And I was hauling it around everywhere I went. Like, I don't need to carry my awning when I go to work. I don't even need the awning on all my trips. I don't set this up on all my trips. For me, this is something I'll take it most of the time. But if I'm on a trip where I'm going to camp one night and move, and camp a night and move, and camp a night and move, the weather looks good. I'm not even setting this up. It's different. If it looks like it's going to rain, yeah, I'm going to set this up so I have a nice covered area to cook, hang out. This is also really good for times you're going to be in the same place several days in a row. Rendezvous in the Ozark, More Expo, any of that kind of stuff where you're going to be somewhere for a couple of days. It's nice to just kind of put the big tarp up, have your tent up, and basically have your little home base. This is my spot. I've got shade if it's sunny. It's protects me from the rain if it's raining. All that kind of stuff just gives me a nice little area for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a time lapse of me setting this up. Y'all don't want to watch me do it in real time. It's not the quickest thing in the world. It is not as quick as like the 270 awnings that you just unzip it and swing it out. It's probably not even as quick as a traditional 180 awning where you just go out from the vehicle and flop the legs down and do the ropes. It takes 10 minutes maybe to set it up, and that's why I don't set it up unless I think I'm going to need it or I'm going to be there a while. But the advantage of not having to haul it around all the time is great for me. I don't get great mileage. This is a four-wheel drive V8 that's heavy. I don't need to add weight to it for me to drive to work or to drive my kid to dance practice or anything like that. So whatever I can do to cut weight when I can is awesome. The other thing I thought about getting before I got this, I think it's Moonscape, the Moonscape awning. Those are really neat. And it's kind of a similar deal as this. You can put it up wherever. They're neater, but they're more expensive than this. This is relatively cheap, and we'll talk about that toward the end. So let me go ahead, do the time lapse, get this set up, let y'all see how this works and what it looks like set up. Okay, so I was wrong. I just timed myself setting it up, and it was right at about 6 minutes, which is really not bad. Like I said, I don't set it up every time I go out, but I think I'm going to need it, or if I'm going to be there for a couple of days, 6 minutes is worth it. So we just kind of run you through what we got going on here. First off, up at the top, at the end of the tarp, there's three nylon straps with buckles. So for me, I've got those three things strapped to the back of my roof rack. So that holds it up there. And on each side, it's got another strap that comes down, and you can attach it to your rim. So you've got that on both sides. So that really helps keep it secured to the vehicle. And then back toward the other end, got our big open end here. Let me give you a shot. So it comes with these two collapsible poles. They are 9 or 10 feet tall. They're way taller than me. They're steel. They're heavy. They got a cable that runs through them, so they stay together and they're easy to put. They're like overbuilt tent poles. Comes with all the ropes. Comes with some pretty beefy stakes too. There we go. Okay, some nice big beefy steaks. I mean, I have been some, but they're not cheap steaks. They're actually pretty decent steaks that come with it. But what I really like for my setup, get camp, set this up, got the Forerunner back there, got the hatch open, and then right here at the open end, see the tarp up there. So right at the edge of the tarp, that's where I like to set up my gazelle tent. So right there, where it's not taking up any of my room here under the tarp, but I can get in and out of it if it's raining without getting wet. I keep the door just under the cover here. And that gives me plenty of room. And I usually set up my kitchen either, it depends on what I'm cooking with. If I've got like a normal camp stove or something, I'm probably using this back and forth as the kitchen, or I might set scuttle up on the side or something like that. It gives me a lot of options, which I like. It gives me a lot of shade too. This is really nice. One of the things that I've been struggling with this setup is lighting. What I've got now that works pretty good, I've got several of like the collapsible solar powered lanterns, and I've got the little poles that go onto the pole here, and it comes out and you hang the lantern. It gives you good light here, and I've got one for each pole. And then I've got a spot up here on the Forerunner where I can hang another lantern, but it doesn't give good light like right in the middle. So if I'm cooking with a scuttle or something, I've got to put it over here right next to one of these poles where I'm close to getting rained on if it's raining, so I can get good light. I could do some string lights, but those seem really finicky. The other thing I've thought of is getting a Devos Light Ranger, and it would give me two benefits. One, I could set it up right in the middle and give me light through this whole area. The other advantage it would have is right in the middle of the tarp. Let me show you out of here. Where these pieces all come together, there's a nice little rubber part to protect it. And I could shove that Light Ranger right up here to help push this up, make the roof a little more cone shaped so no water gets trapped and it all just runs right off. The only problem is then I've got a pole running right down the middle of my hangout area. I don't know if I like that. And Light Rangers aren't cheap. So I'm still stuck on that. I hadn't decided. So the other neat things about the Slumberjack Roadhouse Tarp, we'll just talk about some of the advantages. I said it before, it's cheap. I looked before I filmed this today on Amazon. It's like 124 bucks. And yeah, you can get cheap, knockoff awnings that mount to your vehicle for that or less sometimes. This is quality stuff though. This comes with nice steel poles. This is a good quality tarp. It's never leaked on me once. I've used it many, many times. Comes with the good stakes I showed you earlier. It comes with all the cords, and they even have the reflective stuff in the cords, and they come with adjusters, so you can sit there and adjust the tension on this if you need to. And generally, once I get it all set up, I do have to go back and kind of tweak it a little bit, make sure it's all good and tight. I didn't do that today because I'm not staying. I just set it up for demonstration purposes. But yeah, it comes with quality components. In fact, honestly, the ropes it comes with are a little too long. Hang on. Part of this is because you can set this up multiple ways, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But just on this one spot, I have this rope quadrupled up. And if you get down here, this is how much slack I had to tie into knots just to make this a reasonable length. So I'm not taking up a ton of room outside of my space. Like this was an issue at More Expo, camping there. Campsites are really close to each other. You're close to your neighbors. I can't have these ropes going 6 feet out past my vehicle, just taking up space for no reason. So I had to shorten them up. They're almost too long, but that's a good thing. I mean, they're giving you plenty of stuff. All the spots where the rope's attached to the tarp, you can see here, it's nice and reinforced. Got the rubber reinforcement on the back. This is quality equipment for 124 hours. Love it. I've had it on in strong winds. I've had it on in plenty of rain. Never had a problem. Never regretted setting it up. The other really neat thing about it is you can set this up in multiple ways. You're not stuck with it on one spot of your vehicle. For me with the 4Runner, I pretty much always attach it to the back of the 4Runner, open the hatch, and have it going out. That just works good for how I normally like to set up. Like I said, I have my tent over there, and then I have spots for my chairs or whatever table in here. And what's nice is if I go to bed at night and I want to keep my vehicle secured, I can still close the hatch and lock the vehicle up and keep the tarp up. It's really nice. I don't have to worry about all my stuff. Other ways you can set this up. Like I said, I have it set up on the back. You can set it up on the sides. If you have a roof rack where you can attach those straps, I can easily attach this to the driver's side, passenger side. I've never actually tried it because this is just how I like it, but I could. And it also comes with instructions to set it up different ways. The way I have it now, we've got the one pole over here, other pole over here. It just gives you a nice broad area to hang out in, and it's good for if it's raining like straight down. If you're getting windy sideways rain, this isn't great because it's going to come in the sides. So another way you can set it up is instead of using two poles, you use one pole, you put it right in the middle, and you set the one pole in the middle, and it lets these sides slope down steeper, so you don't have as much room underneath, but they go further, closer to the ground, so you have more room protection from rain that's blowing in sideways and stuff. So I haven't used this tarp in a situation like that yet, so I always just do the two pole setup, but it's nice to know that I have that ability. The other thing you can do with this, and I haven't tried this like out at a campsite, I've tried this in my yard just to try it. You can actually set this up completely freestanding without it being attached to anything. I was talking earlier, you can do the one pole here. So what you do is you take the two poles, you don't use the two poles like this, but one pole here, one pole on the very other end where the vehicle's attached. There's a spot just like that. So you end up having it out longwise, one pole in the middle over here, one pole in the middle over here, and then the rope's coming down. It comes with extra ropes and extra stakes to do it this way. And it lets you have a completely freestanding awning that's attached to nothing. I don't know when I would do that because it's just not how I do it and how it works for me, but it's nice to know I can. The other neat thing, I saw this at Rendezvous. There was two guys that had these, and one of them also had a 4Runner, so I was very impressed. But they both had the Slumberjack Roadhouse tarps, and they backed up their vehicles to each other, so they had tarp, and then a whole other tarp, and then another vehicle. And they had a huge amount of space for them, and they set up lots of chairs and a huge camp table and their whole camp kitchen, and they had plenty of room to stay out of the rain, hang out. Even having one, I was jealous of not having two because it looked really nice. Some of the disadvantages, and like I said, I love this. I'm not trying to talk you out of it when I say disadvantages, but nothing's perfect. So let's just talk about some of the disadvantages. I really like it set up like this. I've mentioned it many times, but set it up like this, attached to the vehicle, I can't leave. I'm stuck. It's attached to the vehicle. What I have done, and I did this at Rendezvous, I unattached the top stuff, unattached the wheel stuff, and used some stakes and just kind of slanted the whole thing down almost like a lean-to. And then when I got back, I just backed my vehicle back up to the tarp and then rehooked it up. It worked. It let me leave. It let me take the vehicle and drive off. Still have the tarp set up, kind of marking my spot. It was a little finicky getting repositioned and getting it reattached, and had to kind of go and remess with all the ropes and the stakes and everything, getting it all lined back up right. But it's doable. But it's one of the downsides. It's not super convenient if you're somewhere where you're going to want to leave. Also, it's not, like I said, it took 6 minutes to set up. A lot of the other awnings are quicker. Man, you get one of those Batwing 270 awnings, you unzip it, you swing it around, you clip it, you're done. Maybe you set the legs up. It takes a minute, maybe 2 minutes. So this realistically is 3 times as long. But it's still just 6 minutes. If you think you're going to need it, 6 minutes is worth it. For me, it's worth it to not have to carry it around all the time. I had to go get this off the shelf in my garage where I keep all my gear because I don't have to carry it on the vehicle every day. That's really nice. But figured I had to do a video on this because every time I go somewhere and have it set up, at least one person stops and asks, what is that? And where did you get it? What is it called? How does it work? Just a neat alternative to the normal awnings. It's got a lot of pros and cons. Maybe it'll work great for your setup. Maybe it won't. Either way, I love it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it probably anywhere. It's made by Slumberjack. They make a lot of outdoor stuff. It's called the Roadhouse Tarp. They do have a upgraded version that's got like walls. I think they're mesh walls or something, which I don't know if I'd want. This is right for me. This is great. Well, other than that, man, I'm glad y'all are here. I'm kind of been re-inspired to start. I had a bit of a gap in videos there, and I've kind of been reinvigorated. I'm gonna try to start doing videos some more and a little more often. But yeah, if you're liking what you're seeing, just realize if you're watching this on YouTube, we also release it as a podcast. You can find it wherever good podcasts are found. Just search Stormcore Overland. If you're watching this or you're listening to this as a podcast, you can also find it as a video on YouTube. Just search Stormcore Overland there. You can find us on Instagram, Stormcore Overland. And finally, you can send me an email if you want at stormcoreoverland@gmail.com. On any of those platforms, I'd greatly appreciate a like, comment, follow, subscribe, any of that kind of stuff. Send me a message. Let me know what you think. I got some great messages after the last video, hearing from some people. It was great. What are y'all doing for shelter? Do you have the vehicle mounted awning? Do you have a 180, a 270? Using a moonshade? Moonshades are great. I still, if something ever goes wrong with this, I might end up getting a moonshade. Those are still pretty cool. But what are y'all using? I'd love to hear it. Leave me a comment, send me a message, let me know what you're doing. Other than that, remember, sometimes you have to go out and get lost and maybe set up a really cool awning before you can find yourself. Thanks for watching.